Alright, good afternoon, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might find yourself on this planet. Ladies and germs, Ben Williams coming at you real briefly on the 248th birthday of the United States Marine Corps, one of the elite fighting forces in the world. Believe that, alright? This more or less is just somewhat of a birthday message, but also an opportunity for me to document my time experience as a Marine, and how it definitely is one of those things that once I earned that title, it stuck with me. It is definitely impacted my life in every direction that I go, every workplace that I go into. Those ethos, if you will, or what have you, of honor, courage, and commitment always shine through. I walk a little bit faster, I try a little bit harder than most individuals, and it shines through, You can ask probably most of my leadership as a soldier now, because if you don't know me intimately, I did take, a good 13-year break from military service, and but for whatever reason, my Lord and Savior told me to come back to this place of service in such a way, and here I am. So, however, when I was 18 years old, I was just, pretty bright for sure, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when I got out of high school. And I knew I wanted to maybe pursue higher education in such way. But yeah, I know I got too lost in the sauce in such a way with my social life and honestly playing drums. No harm, no foul there. Yeah, and ultimately, even if I had the money or what have you to go to school, I knew that I just didn't know what I wanted to pursue, So one of my best friends and retirees, if you will, a Marine himself, Matthew Hart, Gunny Hart, hoorah, pardon me. Yeah, he was telling me about, the Marine Corps, the few proud, the elite, right? And that really spoke to me quite so much that I went and spoke to a recruiter. That would have been fall of 2003. Sergeant Hernandez. I'll never forget his face. I'll never forget the way he talked, and that white government car he drew, the sedan, if you will. Yeah. And come to think about it right now, it reminds me of all the gentlemen, as I call them now, who are also a part of my graduating class of Henry Jackson High School, who are also interested in joining the Marine Corps, and we're going to be on their way. Michael Cotter, what's up, dude? We're going to be on the buddy program to be a part of graduating class of we're in that same series in a sense. Michael Cotter, it's a either way, losing track a little bit here. So yeah, it was a real quick decision for me to join the Marine Corps. Sat down and spoke to Sergeant Hernandez. He listed out my options. The whole honor, courage, commitment thing really spoke to me in such a way. Right here, and I don't know. I was just like, shoot, if I do this for 4 years, you say I might have an opportunity to go to college and things of that nature and explore my interests on the government's dime, not my parents' dime, not my dime. I was like, heck yeah, At that time, in 2003, we had already invaded Iraq, you know. So, for me personally, it was like, I was like, if I'm gonna do this for 4 years, I'm gonna go full force, you know. I don't want to sit at a desk, you know. When I thought of a Marine, I thought of a Marine freaking rifle in hand, you know, freaking going full force and charging after shit, if you will. Pardon my language there, Dad. Maybe a little bit naive in that nature, and so to speak. But either way, went down to MEPS and, you know, depped in, so to speak. I did the ASVAB and all that stuff, and I passed my the medical process. And on 22nd November 2003, I initially raised my right hand and swore oath to protect the greater good, if you will. Also, you know, got my GT score at that time, or my ASVAB score of 116, which is nice, because I never have to take it, and since then, never had to take it again, and I'm good to go, right? So, long and short, supposed to be on the buddy program with Eric Winkle-Cotter, one of my classmates from Henry M. Jackson High School. And it's funny because I didn't realize that Marine Corps crunches on the PT test were just, you know, crunch in, and I was trying to do full sit-ups. So I failed the initial PT test to ship out, and so that delayed me a little bit. And it's kind of funny, Winkle-Cotter, you'll remember this. I ran into you a couple times, and I know you went on to like have holiday, what do they call it, you know, like recruitment assistance or whatever. But I missed out on the opportunity because I got delayed. So either way, long and short is about September 19th, if you will, I landed on the yellow footprints, and so with Lima Company, if you will, right, 3031, and I'm right there, right up there. 2 phases I did with them, and I'll never forget Saffron, Washington. That's why I highlighted this little phrase here. Hey, fruit! You know what I mean? And Price. Price was my J-belt. He was the guy who was just jumping all over the place, you know, and let me know, making me feel so guilty for not preparing for the swimming portion of boot camp. But long and short, I got dropped beginning of what would have been third phase because of a broken third metatarsal in my left foot. And honestly, that's what led me to go to sick call for the first time ever, and probably the one time I've ever gone to sick call, was leading to third phase, was the fact that I had that pain in my foot, and I was drastically scared of doing swim call again, you know, because we had our initial swim call during like first phase or whatever, and yeah, I was just like, I don't know if I want to go through that fear of drowning, you know what I mean? So, if there's anything I have to say about that is, hey, if you want to get over fear, face fear freaking head on, right? Just saying. So going forward, I got dropped to MRP, which is like medical rehab platoon, basically. And I was there for like a week, and I kind of figured out the game, and I was like, all right, this really sucks. How can I make it better than just sitting on my freaking, you know, these little boxes, you know, or or forgive me, escapes me. Somebody will correct me what it's called, but you know, sitting on that, reading your book for freaking 8 hours a day, or in between chows, and I was like, this sucks, man. I got a freaking boot on my foot. This is just lame as shit. How can I like make my life a little bit better? I got to know the scribe, who's about to get, you know, about to actually graduate, and I was like, hey, you know, I don't know. He kind of gave me some ins and outs, I guess, to say the least, and maybe the new scribe to take over. And then my next medical appointment, I was like, I just freaking lied my ass off. It was still hurting, yes. My foot was still hurting, but I was like, I need to get the fuck out of this MRP bullshit and get the fuck out of here as soon as possible. Forgive my language. And so that's what I did. I went to the doc, you know. He gave me some x-rays and things of that jazz. And even though it kind of looked broken, he was like, are you on a pain scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest? I was like, yeah. No, I'm feeling a 1, you know. And so I picked up with Bravo 1029, 1029, however you want to look at it. On that little boot right there, or shower shoe, if you will. And out of these drill sergeants, if you will, drill instructors, it stuck with me the most. Definitely Sheen-wise. You know, I was just a pickup, you know, so they didn't look at me like I was fucking fresh off the water. But this guy has some fucking praises that I'll never forget, and that's for me to keep in my heart. So once I graduated, of course, in the Herald in Washington State. If you guys don't know, I'm from, you know, the Snohomish County area of Washington State. And yeah, so right off here, Private First Class Ben Williams has graduated from basic training at Marine Corps Depot in San Diego. He's the son of Tom and Camille Williams of Everett, Washington. Williams is a 2004 graduate of Henry M. Jackson High School in Everett. And that's a fact. So, after 10 days boot leave, which I'll never forget, you know, flew out in like class, my trolleys basically, you know. So, like, your blues, I don't know. You Marines know what I'm talking about when you're flying home. So from there, 10 days boot leave, you know, my best friends, Justin, Kyle, Simpson, and Corey was there, I believe. Yeah, and Matthew Hart, who had not departed to the Marine Corps quite yet, picked me up and spent some time up there in Arlington at his mom's place. God bless you, Rebecca. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it was funny because it was snowing out, and yeah, I hadn't seen like a female figure in a long while, and from lack of better words, I might have taken a Playboy to the bathroom a couple times. So either way, departed to. So if you didn't know this, but I enlisted as an 03, 03X or whatever. So I chose infantry off the bat, basically. And so my next portion of my journey, if you will, in the Marine Corps was infantry training battalion, or more or less School of Infantry, and I landed with a Delta company, ITB, if you will. And so for me, that experience was 8 weeks long. It started roughly late January. First 3 weeks were just like what you would have as a Marine Corps combat training with the pogues get, you know. If you don't know what a pogue is a personal other than grunt, all right? And then at the end of that 3 weeks, after you got your basic infantry training, you got like a dream sheet, if you will. I knew from square one I wanted to be a freaking 0331 machine gunner, right? I wanted to spray and pray, I guess, you know. And I don't know, because something about machine guns fascinated me. And so, long and short, late March or early March, I graduated from Infantry Training Battalion. I'll read this off real quick. Infantry Training Battalion takes pleasure in presenting this certificate to Benjamin J. Williams, certifying he has met all the requirements and successfully completed its curriculum by the Commandant of the Marine Corps for Infantry Machine Gunner 0331 course. Given at the School of Infantry, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California, this 21st day of March 2005. And then with that, also have printed off my photograph, if you will, or graduating picture. It was just taken like way early in the cycle. I'd say to add to that, my instructor was Sergeant Tardif, this real short guy, you know, yay high, if you will. No harm, no foul there, Kyle and Justin Simpson, but about your height. And he talked with his big booming voice, you know. And boy, he was something else. His limo briefs were the best. And actually, that's why I made a note on here, if you will. He'd always end his limo briefs, Liberty briefs, if you will, with, you know, if you're going to tap it, wrap it, and no chicks in wheelchairs, right? Enjoy your weekend, Marines. Come back fucking Monday to kill, you know, in such a way. So, all good there. So the end of March was when we were about to graduate. First Sergeant Wachowski, fucking tough as nails, first sergeant, that's for sure. Great dude. As I remember him. Basically, my class was split in between Pendleton and 29 Palms. And, you know, we had our wish list in such a way to what duty stations we want to go to, but that was just kind of a fallacy, really. Because, you know, everything in the military is about at the needs of the military and where they need people at. And so his final speech to us all was like, Marines, all y'all going out to Pendleton, good job. You enjoy it. All you 29 Palm Marines, I was just going to warn you, it's hotter than two rats fucking a wool sock. And I was like, oh damn, what have I got myself into, you know? My dreams at the time were to go to Hawaii maybe, or what have you. But it's all good, you know? So yeah, I hopped on a bus and got dropped off in 29 Palms. I got picked up by Kilo Company initially. Was with Kilo Company for about 2 weeks. And I had in my mind that I was a freaking 0331 machine gunner. And my ultimate goal was to be on a turret, freaking, you know, launching rounds downrange from a Humvee. And essentially, as I remember it, they're like, well, Williams, a H&S gun trucks needs a couple of 03s, if you will, to fulfill some slots for PSD, so personal security detail, on this upcoming deployment. Because keep in mind, when I landed with 3rd Battalion South Marines, 29 Palms, it was already known that I was going to be going to Iraq, Ramadi specifically. And I was like, got to land with the Kilo Company initially. I was like, yeah, well, I'm not a run and gunner. I want to be on a freaking Humvee, right? As a gunner, launching shit down range. So I took him up on the opportunity, you know, and if you will. And yeah, so ended up at H&S. I was training along, and I was a young buck, all right? Very immature, keep that in mind, all right? And I may or may not have pissed off the section leader of H&S gun trucks in such a way. So when it came down to the tail end of like July and August, and they stood up more or less the guard platoon for Hurricane Point in Ramadi. So just to back brief you a little bit. So here's Camp Ramadi. Blue Diamond is over here. And right here's freaking Camp Ramadi. Not Camp Ramadi, but Hurricane Point. And it's like right where the Tigris and Euphrates meet, in the heart of Ramadi. And that was like the main OP, if you will, for our battalion, was Hurricane Point. And you had various guarding positions, or OPs, if you will, within the OP, and what have you, that need to be manned. And who they rely upon? Headquarters and support. And so I kind of, as a young private, if you will, I got fucking, I don't know, in a weird way, I kind of feel like I missed out on a lot of good opportunities to go out and fucking face the enemy and do what I intended to do in such a way for our country. At the same time, it did protect me from a lot, you know, and it is what it is, you know. Doesn't mean that, you know, I didn't, you know, fulfill my position as a gate guard in such a way, like, to the best of my ability. I took that shit fucking seriously, and I saw some, well, I didn't see anything crazy or anything like that necessarily, but I had some experiences that only I will know, you know, and yeah, it's something. I saw a lot of aftermath of some things, and I'd say though I had some great experiences though, interacting with I'll leave it at that. But either way, that's why I put this place marker here, if you will, which says 37 H&S Guard Platoon, fall through spring 2005, Tower Guard OCP 1, or most entered checkpoint 1, main gate for Hurricane Point. And I made a note here, Worthley, because that guy had all my freaking pictures. This fucking reservist had all my pictures saved onto a hard drive, if you will, in a sense, and said, "Hey, dude, I'll send them to you." Fucking, it makes me so mad. But it reminds me, I was reminded tonight, if you will, or today, I need to track that motherfucker down, because he owes me, right? You know, that's the thing that makes me mad. When you say you're going to do something, you freaking do it. You're only as good as your freaking word, right? Except for Dallas, alright? So, alright. Post first deployment, that whole noise in 2005. I came back and, you know, had great Had great leave. You know, I went on a great trip to Vancouver with my best friend Corey, which honestly had some issues on my part. It's okay. Let's just say maybe I don't know. I might have ended up in, may or may not have ended up in British Columbia in jail for drinking too much at 19 years old. Whatever. Right? Came back from leave. The whole battalion got reorganized. I'm an 03, and so they put me with initially. They took me out of H&S, so Headquarters and Support Company, and put me with frickin' weapons company. All along was my dream, you know, to be a part of a freaking weapons company, a combined anti-armor team that rolls around freaking, you know, gun trucks in a sense, Humvees, you know, 5-man teams, you know, so you got a gunner, you got a driver, a VC, vehicle commander, you got a gunner, and then 2 dismounts in the back, and what have you. I was like, heck yeah. So I ended up with Cat White under the charge, more or less, of Staff Sergeant Corporal. He's now retired. I believe he was a Master Sergeant. Corporal, forgive me, Sergeant, if I'm mispronouncing your name. And I really started to learn my job, you know, as a grunt, as an infantry marine, right? Within a weapons company, you know, within a truck team, you know, how to shoot, move, and communicate, essentially, in a mechanized such a way, you know, and just the day in, day out kind of thing, you know. And yeah, had a lot of great experiences there, so to speak. So when I was with Cat White, we went to the Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center in Bridgeport, California. That would have been like summer 2006. They were not sure if they were going to send us back to Ramadi or if they were going to send us to the mountains of Afghanistan. All right, and so pretty cool experience for me. You know, they had to break us off into various skill sets or whatever to be learned, whether that be like sear or, in my case, mule packing. So I went to the mule packers course, and so I have that certificate here, and it states, "This is to certify that Lance Corporal Benjamin J. Williams has completed the course prescribed by the commanding officer, Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center for Pack Master course, given at the Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center, Bridgeport, California, this 7th day of September, 2006. Yeah, had some excellent instructors. I did something that I never thought I'd ever do within the Marine Corps, dealing with animals, you know. Ultimately, we did not end up going to Afghanistan or anything like that. Never had to utilize that skill set that I learned. But unfortunately, I remember reading the Marine Corps Times before going off to my second deployment that Sergeant Box, he passed away in combat, under fire, if you will, doing that specific job, you know, for the cause in such way. And so, God bless you there, sir. And moving on. So, long and short, before we deployed in the spring of 2007, weapons company got reorganized to split off another, or must birth another platoon, because we have so White, red, and blue, right? Is what we initially had. Cat red, cat white, cat blue. Get the chromatic scheme of things is, represent the American flag. But to support the PSD and the freaking log run, if you will. So log run is like a logistics kind of thing. You're placing security in place so that food and water can be transported from one place to another without getting fucking overrun by Hajis, right? So cat they split it off to develop Cat Black, but they had two sections of Yankee, right? Cat Black, Yankee, and I'm forgetting one. I'm forgetting the other nomenclature, if you will. But I'll be corrected. It's okay. The important thing is for me is I know my experience was with the Yankee, all right? And Cat Black Yankee's responsibility, area of responsibility, if you will, was to take more or less the governor Ramadi and our BC battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Roger B. Turner at the time, and from my understanding now he's a freaking general, right? Brigadier General. Last I checked, he was overseeing the base of 29 Palms and what have you. And I was part of Truck 4, so the 4th truck. And my vehicle commander was freaking Chase Toon, and my gunner was freaking Crowfoot. And in the back we had Doc. Doc, you'll correct me there, Doc. This very kind, I would say, Latino dude, And then we had the extra open space in our back, in the back of our truck for the governor or freaking the commander, or if we had certain situations, might have to transport some other, high value individuals, like visitors, like generals and shit like that. And but at the end of the day, our responsibility in Ramadi was to take them wherever they needed to go. Generally, our meetings would be basically for meetings and stuff like that, or whatever. A lot of times, and it was a great experience because at that time, just for your knowledge, it was pretty low key as far as how things were going on in Ramadi. Insurgency had pretty much been eradicated at that time when we got there in the spring 2007, and so it was really more of a winning hearts and minds kind of mission, and more about doing things that can help rebuild the infrastructure of such a war-torn country. Which kind of brings me back is like it was such a juxtaposition in such a way, because I remember when we were leaving in 2005 or 2005, and we already transferred over to 3 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines, and I have this vivid memory in such a way of this freaking helicopter, floating over here's Hurricane Point, ECP-1 is right here, if you will, of this freaking helo just hovering and launching hellfires at the freaking mosque just down the way. And that's pretty fucking severe, if you will. You have to have the highest level of authority to approve launching hellfire missiles, if you will, at a mosque, and so and freaking that's why and again, to bring it back to 2005, 2005, is we were getting, IDS, so indirect fire, mortars, not every day, but it was just, you just never knew, you know what I mean? So that's why freaking 2007 was so different. It just felt like, I don't know, it was like a summer vacation. That's why I wrote this down here. Where did I put that? Yeah. Summer vacation, 2007, And, this is me with my whole platoon, in a sense, in front of, like, what are those vehicles called? They were the upgrade from the freaking Humvee. And it became more of the standard over the Humvee in country. But yeah, I highlight myself right there. I'm right there, and if you will. Yeah. I got a picture of me right there, right outside of freaking doing the short count in a sense, at Hurricane Point. And the palace is right there. See, this palace, from my understanding, was, well, to get back to that, is like Hurricane Point is essentially built around, or one of Saddam Hussein's son's palaces or mansions or whatever, So that's the thing. And then I think this was at like one of the further OPs or whatever, observation posts. I can't remember which, but that's in Ramadi of 07 as well. So that's the thing. And then, yeah, it's just another platoon picture. So that's the thing. So, came back in about November of 2007. And, had leave and all that jazz. And, 07 was something special for me because I wasn't the fittest of Marines, but I lost a shit ton of weight. Like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was just motivated, highly dedicated to, being more fit and thinking about moving on to being like an NCO, like a corporal. And, yeah, I got myself down to like 175 pounds. I could run like 13 miles, no problem. Yeah, things you do when you're like 21, doesn't mean you can't do it when you're freaking 37, alright? Because keep in mind, I'm in the Army now, and my last recorded, ACFT score was 529 out of 600 possible points. So never limit yourself, I'll get to that later, right? So, long and short, leave, whatever happened. And beginning of 2008, we got word that, Weapons Company had been chosen to take part of Foul Eagle, if you will, in South Korea. It's a training operation that happens about every 3-4 years or something like that. And due to Weapons Company's great status and what have you, and being like the QRF force, I don't know, like, because they could have chosen any company within 3rd Battalion Submarines to take part, but they chose Weapons Company because I wasn't always a part of that, but they're, again, the QRF, the 911, always there, diehards, if you will, to save people's asses, when they really needed it, so. Either way, so about February 2008 is when we took part in Operation Foul Eagle. It's roughly about less than a month training evolution. Most of it was training on the weekends. First Sergeant Land Polson made distinct effort, God bless his soul, to make sure that we got to see like 30th parallel and all that jazz, and see the sights, and give us breaks from all the training, and yeah, it was rad. But for me personally, I mean, I'll never forget like seeing like the tunnels that led to like other places that were discovered and things like that. The final warning or final shot. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's the one thing that made an impact on me is that spot where the government buildings of North and South Korea are like right in line, and they have, at least the South Koreans have these freaking bodyguards that stand at sturdy parade rest, right? Like so. They wear aviators and these white bucket hats, you know what I mean? And apparently they're trained in like black belts or something like that, so they can just snap at any moment and cut you right down. So either way, I have photos of us at Camp Casey, my platoon, if you will, or camping. Right there. I am closely there I am right there. So that's the thing. And those Rock Marines, the Republic of Korean Marines, are something else, Freaking, you thought Marines are freaking, dedicated and freaking disciplined, and their leadership is on them. I mean, our leadership as Marines are on us. Man, those guys are just like, they don't want to disappoint. They want to make sure that they're us as Marines saw them as equals or even better, you know what I mean? So, either way. But yeah, so there's our company guidon flying next to the Rock Marines guidon, so that's the thing. And then, of course, I was like super fit at the time. I was like, trying to press a gal back home, maybe. Here's me with our guidon right outside of. There's just like this little restaurant, Camp Casey or whatever, they had a TV going on, you buy food and stuff, basically on PX, so that's the thing. So, ultimately, I was 22, I'm about to be 22 years old at this time, and I got home like 15 days before my 22nd birthday, and gosh, what was her name? I don't know, I had my 22nd birthday dinner, if you will, with that gal from Riverside at a BJ's Pizza in, gosh, what was that? One of those beach towns, if you will. But yeah, and I don't know, I knew that there was something more for me in my life, and I still had some more to discover, and so I got out. I did get out, right? I got myself, where you at, boy? My 2214, or DD214, if you will. Yeah, I just knew that once I got this, definitely hold on to it. And, well, that's kind of beside the point. Hold on, of course, it's stupid to say. Got a nice letter from the state of Washington. I'll read that real quick if you want. November 3rd, 2008, Benjamin Joseph Williams. I'll leave my parents' address out of it. Dear Benjamin Williams, on behalf of the citizens of Washington State, thank you for your military service. We owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude for all you have done to protect our nation's cherished freedoms. We also recognize that the completion of your military obligation means you have endured physical hardship and separation from your family and friends. Your devotion to country is truly commendable. We're delighted to have you back home in Washington. It goes on, but it's signed by Christina Gregor, the governor of Washington State at the time. And then, once I completed my inactive reserve time, the Marine Corps sent me a pretty nice, something that should be framed, I guess, certificate that states honorable discharge from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. This is to certify that Lance Corporal Benjamin Joseph Williams was honorably discharged, heck yeah, honorably, right, from the United States Marine Corps on the 28th day of October 2011. This certificate is awarded as a testimonial of honest and faithful service, and it's signed Echo Lima Proffer, Head Mike Romeo Papa -10, Headquarters of the Marine Corps or Hotel. I always forget what Q is. Mike Charlie. So, to wrap this up, if you will, at the end of the day, I got out. I'm 22 years old. And yeah, I went full force to see what else life had to offer. Made some mistakes, some failures, or whatever. And ultimately, every few years I have this weird itch. I call it an itch. And I shit you fucking not, that I needed to be back within a establishment or what have you that upheld standards of, say, honor, courage, and commitment, and what have you, because I was just not finding it anywhere within all my searching, in a sense. So, no harm, no foul. I checked my boxes by trying to go with law enforcement. Wasn't feeling it. And honestly, I didn't think I should go back to this, as much as it. Because I wasn't sure if I missed it or how much I missed it, but I fucking miss it now, and I felt like, the Army might give me more opportunity in a future in many different regards. And so here I am, and I'm fucking happy, alright? That's why there's something I could say, if there's anything I could say to any of my fucking Marine Corps brothers out there right now who think you're too old, you're too fat, you're whatever, and if you want some sort of freaking, some fulfillment in the service capacity, hey, go reach out to your freaking National Guard recruiter. They have much looser standards, if you will, when it comes to your age. All I can say is that if you've already filed for disability and shit like that, you might be asked out, for whatever reason, me personally, I didn't feel like I had anything severe or whatever enough to file this disability, and I didn't want to squander any future opportunities for service, and that's why I didn't try to freaking game the system in such a way when I was about to get out. So I'll leave it at that, but at the end of the day, this is just me being me, sharing my history as a Marine, and whatever you do there, Marines, is share your story. Share your freaking story, because the younger generations need to know what it means to freaking live up to the standards of honor, courage, and commitment, right? and what it means to freaking have grit and how to push through adversity, right? Improvise, adapt, and overcome. I know that's not something that we were necessarily taught in boot camp, but it's something that we have within our freaking hearts and our souls, and our freaking young bucks out there need to understand what it fucking means to fucking rise above and show some fucking grit, because our fucking country needs it right now, alright? So, Semper Fidelis and fucking hoorah.